Clinton Portis is named among 10 former NFL players charged with defrauding a healthcare program.
What does this mean?
Well, essentially what they were doing is they were recruiting guys on their teams to submit false claims to the NFL player health reimbursement program. So they would say that they were buying hyperbaric chambers and X-ray machines, things that sometimes were costing as much as $50,000 to $60,000. And then they would recruit more players to basically say hey, if you file these false claims, we'll give you kickbacks or bribes or anything like that. Yeah, it's a full thing. And then
that's not good.
To execute the plan, they were filling out fake prescriptions and a bunch of fake stuff to reinforce what they were doing.
By the way, Clinton Portis, friend of the show.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Friend of this show here. Anytime fraud is involved in things and money is involved in things, people normally go a lot harder than you would expect them to. Now, morally, things are wrong, of course, but anytime you try to take billionaires' money, that normally is a pretty big deal. And we are very much hoping that Clinton Portis can clear his name, that he wasn't as part of this as much as they are saying. I just read the article as well. They're saying Clinton Portis was a pretty big part of this, but Clinton Portis is saying he had no idea that this was happening. Obviously, he was not in the know. We were hoping, for the sake of him being a friend of our show, that he doesn't end up in jail for a long time. But this feels like something, especially when billionaires are losing money and they have all their lawyers, and now you got, what is it for a federal crime? More than 10,000?
Yeah, to make it, to upgrade it to grand larceny or something like that on a state level.
And it seems like it was done on more than numerous occasions, way more than $10,000. This could be a real problem for these guys, and this is sad to hear about, to be honest. I don't like hearing ex-NFL players not do good. I'm actually in the process of trying to set something up to take care of ex-NFL players because of the stats that we all hear about, 80% going broke within 2 years of retiring, no matter how much money you made. Because growing up, you have no idea. I mean, some of us, when you grow up, you have no concept of what money is, right? Because your parents are just trying to make it week to week, trying to make the bills, trying to just keep us remortgaging the house numerous times, that type of stuff. And then you're handed this gross amount of cash, and they're like, all right, now be disciplined with this money. Well, hello there. Utilize the promo code PAYTHEBILLS and get $20 off your first order from SeatGeek. Now, back to the magic. Your entire life, you've looked at things that you wanted. Your entire life, you've seen these incredible cars and these incredible houses and the way these people live. They have a lot of money. But you need to be disciplined with your money because you don't know how long your career is going to be. That's a lot easier to say than to actually do. As somebody that's been there, done that, who almost had $0 after my first NFL career going into my second year, if that season didn't start and I didn't make that team, we would have been right back into debt. It's very hard to remain disciplined with cash when you've never had cash your entire life. So a lot of NFL players obviously get into financial problems after they retire. And it's a lot easier said than done to be disciplined with your money, especially when there's a lot of things that are awesome out there that you could potentially, that money can give you. And now it takes guys to do desperate things to find ways to get cash and to generate cash. I hope this is all false, but boy, I don't think this ends up good for the guys, especially when you're defrauding billionaires. They don't like that, I don't think, from what I've been told just in the past.
Do you think this pushes back all the stuff they're trying to do for retired players too? It's well, we're trying to help you guys out and you're just defrauding us on the back end, so screw it. Why would we continue to do so?
I sat in a commissioner town hall thing down at the draft, the day of the draft. It was my first time in this. It was Commissioner Goodell and Troy Smith were sitting. And then there was a circle of chairs, and then there was a second round of circle chairs, and it was supposed to be just an open conversation about things that we think the NFL should get better at, and with retired players and stuff like that. And there was a lot of OGs. I mean, Matt Slater's dad is an OG in the NFL. I think he's a Super Bowl champ. He's a Hall of Famer. He was talking a lot. There was guys that were in their 70s talking a lot about how the NFL has never really taken care of them, right? The game was built on the backs of these old shoulders, or of these old players. And now that there's so much money being made, these guys used to have to work 2 jobs while playing in the NFL. Now there's so much money being made. And the NFLPA's job was to take care of the retired players in the NFL's eyes, but they haven't done that, right? So I just sat back. I literally just sat back and waited. You don't have insurance for the rest of your life. You only have it for 5 years after you retire. So a lot of these guys, go into big-time broken debt trying to keep up with the finances of their mental or their health issues. I mean, mental issues are also happening as well. And I sat back until the very end. I didn't say anything. I didn't think it was my role to talk in there. It was my first time I was invited to one of these. I didn't want to say too much. And at the very end, I said, you guys are currently in the middle of debating a CBA. if the NFL was to say, hey, you know what we're going to do? We're going to put some money aside for the ex-players. We're going to put money aside so we can provide health care for the players that played before the current season that have built the NFL into what it is. You could probably get a sponsor, I'd assume, to do this. Insurance companies love sponsoring things. You have them take care of the OGs of the NFL. Everybody wins. And then if you also put a little bit of money aside to maybe help out some guys that find themselves in financial ruins, the NFL could get a good PR spin and look like absolute heroes in the whole thing, as opposed to relying on the NFLPA, who I have heard directly say, well, hey, we got to get our money. They can take care of themselves. I've heard the NFLPA say that to the active rosters, because every time the NFLPA would come in, as you're a young player, you don't really ask many questions, right? Because you don't really know how the game goes. You thank the NFLPA. They show you this entire video about how the NFL used to be and how it is now. And thanks to the NFLPA, they're like, rats used to run around on the locker room floor. Guys would smoke cigarettes that they had to hand roll themselves, that type of stuff. And then the NFLPA helped. It's like, I understand the purpose of the NFLPA then, right? And I understand the purpose of unions then. But now we're at the point where the NFLPA could take a much bigger step in taking care of retired players. And as you get older in those meetings, you start asking, is there any way we can set aside some money for retired players? Because everybody in here is going to be a retired player at some point. Every human in this building right now is going to be a retired player. And the answer that you normally get is, we can take care of that at some point. Let's worry about the guys that are in the league right now. And it's like, well, that's not great for any of us. I mean, that's good for you guys, I guess. So I pitched that idea to Commissioner Goodell's face. I was like, is there any way you guys, in a good PR, could just take care of the retired players, get an insurance company to give insurance for the rest of the lives? I mean, I think that would go a long way. And I got we'll take that in consideration, which obviously meant go to hell. But this is potentially something that, could be a bad blood between retired players, which don't need in the NFL, which isn't good. But if I know anything about billionaires, whenever money is being taken from them or frauded from them, they are going to bring the hammer extra hard down, which is not good for our friend Clinton Portis, if he is doing what they're saying he's doing right now.
Right.
I don't love it.